Hello everyone, uh, welcome back to this another exciting session again today, guys. So guys, in today's video we are going to show you how a user who has an instance, maybe has created an instance or has a remote server that he probably has launched from his local environment, and they launch a remote server and he's doing some work on this remote server, and some other team members, maybe his collaborator, are supposed to access this server and collaborate on the work that this team member is working on. And how does this team member get to authenticate this team members, the co-workers or other team members on this particular server? That is the problem that I want to solve today. All right, let's jump right into the video, guys. So looking at the architecture that we have here, that is the design that we have here right now, we have a team member, Paul, who probably has launched a remote server, call it maybe an EC2 instance, it could be an AWS, could be, or let's say AWS cloud, it could be Azure or maybe GCP cloud. And he wants these team members, James and Anita, to be able to access this server using probably a username and a password. So typically what happens is whenever Paul want to launch this instance, Paul will launch this instance and probably have an access key. And so this access key pair, call it a key pair, okay? So key pair because the cloud provider do return a copy of the key, and you have your private key downloaded onto your local system, okay? Onto your local machine right here. So when this happens, so this will trigger that possibility for Paul to be able to access this server. Paul will be able to access the server and remotely log onto this server without any requirement for, that is, with the help of his access key, okay, with the help of this key, this key pair, Paul can be able to access this server without any problem, okay? So that, let me see this, okay, fine. Paul will be able to access this server, okay, with the help of this key pair on his local machine. Now the problem is, how do James do not have this key pair on his local machine, and how do Anita be able to access this server without this key pair? So there are two ways James can access this machine. That is, Paul can be able to encrypt this key pair, a copy of the, can generate a public key and encrypt, they can get the key encrypted and send over to James, and also another copy to Anita. But there are also easy ways that Paul can probably create a user, James and Anita, on this server and give them password to be able to access this server remotely using just a password and their usernames. So that is what we want to show you guys today. All right, let's go ahead and demonstrate how that works. We are going to go from our workspace. So from our code space, there's another video we showed you how to create a code space. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it do want us to browse things. I'm not going to browse things like right now. Let's see. Okay, let's go to our code space right here. So I'm going to launch this instance using Terraform. Okay, so you are not required to know Terraform to be able to get this done. Terraform, you are not required to launch this server using Terraform. You can go directly from your AWS console right here, and you go from your EC2 instance, and you can be able to launch your instance right from here, okay? And give the instance name, and then choose the machine type, and then go ahead, choose, and yeah, that's the instance type, and then be able to pick up or create a key pair. All right, and we are going to launch this instance. We are going to use Terraform, and we do that in US East 2. we'll launch the instance in US East 2, guys, since it's region specific. All right, so let's go ahead and get that moving. Okay, so we do have our code space right here. If you don't know how to create a code space, you can check out one of our videos, guys. We have a video on how to create a code space. All right, so we'll go ahead. Our code space, we do have a code in 811 folder right here. Okay, let's see. Just one moment. Let me see something right here. Okay, let's go ahead, guys. Let's cd into 811 directory right there. So I do have a couple of, let me see. Let's just want to take that up a little bit. I'm going to create another terminal right here. Okay, good. All right. So we do have a couple of work. Just a moment, guys. I'm right here. Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to cd into one of the codes that I have right there, some Terraform configuration code to launch an EC2 instance. So, okay, let's go to, okay, let's see. Let me see. Just want to check that out. Okay, good. And this is the one that goes with. All right. So this is a Terraform configuration code to launch an EC2 instance, guys. So I have that code right here. This one, like I said, this project you're not required to know Terraform. You can launch your EC2 instance anyhow you want to do it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that EC2 instance. Okay. Let me just do this. You are not required to use Terraform. You can launch your EC2 instance directly from the console, but I just want to do that from Terraform, guys. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so I'm trying to launch a server to show you how does that process work. So my server is being launched right now. So usually you can go directly from your console. Okay, you can go from your AWS console from right here, and you can launch your server directly from your console. This is the one that we just launched using Terraform right now. So this is a server right here. We just launched it right now using Terraform. So if you were to launch this same server from the console, all you need to do is just to go from launch instance from right here, and you give it a name. Just call it demo server. Okay, call it demo server, and you will just select your machine type. It could be maybe Amazon Linux 2. Just select the operating system that you want. It could be an Ubuntu server or Mac OS, and select the instance type T2, M2 large, or maybe T2 micro, T2 medium, and or T3, whatever. Then you go ahead, you will need to select a key pair from here. So this is a key pair that we are going to be using for this specific uh, test case that we want to use. And this key pair is already downloaded uh, onto my local machine. I can show you that key pair right here. So I'm currently in my download, and so if I ls right here, the key pair is right here. This is the key pair right here, and it's the same key pair that we are going to use for this uh, demo that we're doing right now, guys, for this project, for this video. All right, so let's go ahead. So if you were to launch, I just wanted to show you if you were to launch the instance manually. Okay, you can grab the key pair, select the key pair, and once you're done, check out if you need to maybe do some network configuration. That is a little bit of the security group. Okay, you can create a new security group, or you can select an existing security group. I do have maybe a default security group right there, or you can create one. And for the configuration for the storage, the volume is right there, and that is fine. For advanced setting is fine. That is for details. You can allow all of it by default. Okay, and this is for IAM user. Maybe if you want to attach a role onto that server, if you don't have one, there's no problem, and all of that. And you can go ahead and you can launch this instance. Okay, you can launch that instance and be able to access, okay, user instance to be able to SSH on that instance for this specific case as well. But in this case, I've decided to use Terraform to launch the instance. But we have just been able to show you as well, show you how to be able to launch an instance as well. But it's not a requirement for this specific demo. So I'm going to, this is the one we just launched manually, and this is the one I just launched with Terraform. The one I just launched manually, I'm going to terminate that. That is fine, because I don't, that one was just a plus for the video. Okay, let's go ahead and see what are you supposed to do in this case for that specific case that I talked about. So you have the public key right here. I'm going to copy the public key. This is a public key. And as well as I could still grab the key from my Terraform, because this is the public IP right here as well, because I did output the public IP from Terraform output.tf file configuration. So with that, you can go over to this is Paul. Okay, this is Paul. So Paul has been able to launch an instance. This is Paul right here. Paul has launched this instance. He has a key pair on his local machine, and he wants to SSH onto this server. He wants to connect to this server. And so we will have Paul right here. And so what Paul is going to be doing, Paul has this key pair right here. This key pair sitting right here, right now, is this same key pair. All right, is the same key pair. So all what Paul is going to do in order to be able to connect on that server, Paul will do SSH-I, and he will call that key pair. That is the name of the key pair right there. And then he is going to log it as an EC2 user. Okay, EC2 user, EC2-user, and we will have the IP right here. Okay, so yep, the code got messed up, guys. And so he will have the IP right here. We can copy. I'm going to copy the IP again. Yep, I can copy that right from here, or I could still copy that from my Terraform output configuration. Okay, so we will have the IP, the public IP right here, pasted right there. And Paul is going to SSH on that user. They say you should paste a fingerprint, yes. And that is Paul. Paul has been able to access that server. Paul has logged onto the server with the help of the key pair. Okay, so Paul right now, he is able to SSH on this server. So what is Paul going to be doing? Okay, let's first of all, like, we can do a couple of configurations here. Let's go ahead. We can, or even I can change the host name. I can choose not to change the host name, but it's totally fine, because it's not a requirement for this particular video. We want to make this video as short as possible, so let us remain within the context of the video. So what Paul is going to do is, Paul is going to do sudo. Right now Paul is an EC2 user. Okay, Paul is an EC2 user. So he's going to do sudo. You can use a sudo. Okay, you can use sudo and sudo user add. You can user add James, because James cannot be able to access this server, because if you do the same thing for James, James is somewhere in another location. Okay, James is sitting somewhere in another location. Let's see what James is doing. Let's see another situation here. So this can be James. Okay, let's first of all, this can be James. Okay, this can be James. We are going to add, we are going to create, I just want to create additional terminals so that we can visualize everything in this demo. Let us have a visualization. So this is Paul from right here. This is James. James can be somewhere. I'm going to increase that a little bit. This is James. So James can be somewhere. Let's say let me do OneDrive right there. OneDrive. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, we can have this is OneDrive. Let's see. I just want to make sure that I want to show you how James is in a different location and Anita is in a different location in the world. James could be maybe somewhere in Italy and Anita could be somewhere in maybe in Germany or wherever. Okay, and this should be easy for any of the team members to be able to access that server, to SSH on that server and collaborate on the work that is going on. I'm going to LS again. Let's see. Okay, let's see this. All right, let's see. Okay, great. Okay, so we want to look for an ideal location for James. James is in a different location from where Paul is, okay? That's why we're doing all of this. So let's see this. Okay, let me cd into desktop right here. And then I'm going to cd into maybe any one of the workspaces. Let's see. I just want to check which the workspaces that I have on the local system. Okay, I have, let's see. Okay, that is fine. Okay, so we have James is sitting somewhere right there. Let's say James is sitting somewhere in this location. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see the system that what we have on our local system. Let's see. Okay, let us have James sitting somewhere right here. So have James sitting in some location right there. Okay, and that is James right there. Okay, James is sitting somewhere right there. That is in completely different location from where Paul is. And let us also have Anita sitting somewhere as well. So create another terminal and show you where Anita is sitting. So just to show you that Paul does not need does not need a key pair. James and Anita will need just their username and password to access the server, the same server. Okay, I'm going to create another terminal right here. And this is going to be Anita. Okay, let's see this. cd dot and let's see where we are. Okay. Okay, great. Let's cd into OneDrive. cd into OneDrive right there, and we can add this again. Let's see. I just want to make sure that we're looking for an ideal different locations where, okay, let's cd into documents. Let's cd into the directory documents. Okay, great. So James, these are different locations, okay, different locations. This is where Anita is sitting right now. It's in the different locations. If you see where Anita is sitting somewhere in the /user/paul in OneDrive. I'm sitting somewhere in this location. And if you see where James is sitting as well, James is sitting in a different location somewhere around here in a folder called, in a directory called Diodone, while Anita is sitting in a directory called document. Those are different locations, okay, remotely. And Paul is currently on the server. So let's see. Okay, let's see what Paul is going to have. Okay, so Paul is currently on the server. Okay, right now Paul is logged onto the server. If you go from here, you see that James is not able to access that server, right? James is not able to log onto that server because this is right now, because James is not a user on that server. If you try that, you can see what is going to happen. So let's try this. This is James right here. And so if you do the same configuration, if you say SSH-I, okay, -I, and maybe you call, if you try calling even the key pair, it will not show up, okay? So the key pair name is project1 key.pem, okay? project1 key.pem, and this is an EC2 user, okay? EC2 user, and you have James sitting right there. And if James try to access the server, so it's going to, you see, permission denied. James cannot access that server. Okay, if you do same for Anita, let's do same for Anita. This is Anita right here. If Anita tries to access the server as well, right here, okay, let's copy that again. Let's copy that again. This is the same configuration right here. If Anita try to access the server using the key pair name right here, Anita will not be able to access the server because it says permission denied right from here as well. But if Paul do that, I'm going to exit again. I'm going to exit and show you that Paul can do that. So Paul is in a different location as well. So exit, and we can do that for Paul. Paul should be able to access the folder, should be able to SSH on that folder. Okay, let's clear that, and we are going to copy that again. This is the same configuration. Let's show you that. This is it right here. That is Paul. Paul is able to access that server. Okay, that is what we're trying to demonstrate here. So how do James right here and Anita right here be able to access that server? So we will have, Paul is going to be able to use, is going to be able to do a sudo useradd. Sudo useradd James, a user called James. Okay, and James has been added, and Paul is also going to add a user called Anita. That's another user called Anita. Anita has been added, and Paul is going to give a password to James. Okay, Paul is going to give a password to James. Okay, password James, sudo password James. Okay, so it's requiring Paul to give a password to James. Okay, so you put a password, it's going to require you to put a password again. And James has been successfully added onto that server, and James has a password. Okay, successfully added, and James has a password. We'll do same for Anita. Paul give a password to Anita. Password Anita. Then we'll add it, give a password to Anita again. And Anita has been successfully added onto that server, and Anita has a password as well. Okay. All right. So you can observe that if you ls/, let's see. So these are the users. You have an EC2 user, you have user James and a user Anita, and they all have password. Now, Paul and Anita and James do have password now, but can they access this server? That's the question. Can they access the server? Let's try and see if James can access the server. This is James right here. James is right here. And the requirement for James to be able to access the server is just for James to be wherever he or she is and be able to just do SSH, and then you have James, and you can, because James will just have his name SSH James onto that domain. Okay, SSH James onto that domain, and when this happens, they will request for, you see, permission denied. Okay, permission denied. James cannot access that. And if you do same for Anita, let's say SSH Anita, and you can do that as the domain here as well. Let's put the domain right here. This is the domain. We are going to have the domain right there. We can type that. Okay, so that is 3.135.189.221. So if you do that, also Anita cannot access that server. Anita cannot SSH on that server. So let's clear that. Okay, so it's denied, and the public key, okay, the public key at this time, you cannot access that. So let us clear this. And how will Paul be able to help James and Anita to access this server? Remember this command right here. So we are going to be able to do that. And it's easy. You just go ahead and sudo vi onto /etc /etc/ssh, okay, sshd, okay, sshd underscore config. Okay, so this is a location where you can be able to enable password authentication onto that server. You can enable SSH authentication onto that server using a username and a password. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to copy this, and that's fine. Okay, so let's see. So once you do this, you can go onto that server. We are going to VI into that, and you will be able to go down onto this file and you are looking for password authentication to enable that. So if you see where we are, let's see password authentication. The password authentication is currently set to no. If you see that, let's see, we are looking for that right here, guys. So password authentication is currently set to no. Is it right here? So we will just enable this to yes, and James and Anita should be able to SSH on this server with their just their username and the domain and their password. So we will do that. Let's go ahead and change that to yes. And once that is set to yes, we can go ahead and exit. We'll save that and exit. All right. And when this happens, you need to also do a service reload. Okay. The service reload. Sudo service reload SSHD. Okay. SSHD so that you can have that reloaded. Let's see. Sudo service reload. Okay, I see that. So you need to have sudo service. It's the service SSHD. Okay, SSHD reload, and that's it. It's been reloaded and is directed to systemctl reload. Okay, the SSHD service has been reloaded, and that is it. And so if James right now uses same command, James should be able to SSH on that server. Okay, let's go ahead and use that same command. James should be able to SSH on that server. We'll just record that. This is it. Remember, we used it earlier. We did this earlier and it said permission denied. So James should be able to SSH on this server now using his username, the domain name, and password remotely from wherever he is in the world. So once he does that, don't ask for his password. So we'll put the password for James, and James has been able to access that server from right here. You can see the user is James right from here. Okay, and Anita can do same. Remember, initially we did this and the user Anita was denied. Anita did not have permission. This is just the domain. Okay, just the domain. So right from here, Anita will now do that and will ask for Anita's password. And once Anita does that, Anita is logged onto the server. Okay, Anita is logged onto the server, and James is also logged onto the server. So we now have the three users, James. We have the three user James and Anita. Okay, and Paul right here logged onto the server as an EC2 user. Paul is logged onto the server right here as an EC2 user. But Paul do not necessarily have to be an EC2 user. Paul can also go ahead and add himself with his username and password on that server. Okay, Paul can just add himself. So SSH user add Paul. Let's go ahead and add Paul as a user. Paul can add himself as a user. Okay, on that server because Paul is currently logged onto that server as an EC2 user. So we are going to password Paul. So Paul's password is requesting for the password again. And Paul has successfully added himself onto the server and his own password. So Paul do not even need the key. Paul no longer need the key pair to access that server any longer. Okay, and we can do a switch user. We can switch user to Paul. Now because you can see all the users right here. You can see all the users. You have the user Paul, you have the user James, and you have the user Anita on that server. It's remote, the server is remote, and they can collaborate and work on that system. Let's see what we're trying to demonstrate. So right now, James has been able to SSH onto the server. Okay, right here. James has been able to SSH on the server successfully using his username and password, and Anita has also been able to SSH on the server using her username and password as well. So they are all connected onto the server. Let's see, can have the same server. Let's go ahead and put it on the same server. Okay, it's the same server, guys. So I just wanted to point that out. It's the same server. So they have been able to access the server. Paul was able to create it. He has a key pair. He didn't necessarily have to uh, authenticate and encrypt and send this key over to James and Anita, because sometimes it can be vulnerable to send this key pair over whatever medium. Okay, and so you can do this at the name and usernames on the server, and this team member should be able to authenticate and access. They should be able to access this server. So right now we have Paul, Anita. Paul is right here. This is Paul right here on the server. Anita is right here on the server, and then you also have James also logged onto the server. Thank you guys for watching. That was what we're trying to achieve. If you do uh, like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider sharing the video. And feel free to give any comment in the comment section below what you think. If you feel that this is a security vulnerability, or maybe have concerns with what we just did, kindly go ahead and put your comment in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in our next video.